Your headlines might suck, or at least these five website example headlines do. And I'm going to walk you through five big no nos to avoid in your headlines so you can make it way more likely that your prospects convert. So let's get into it. All right, so I want to take you through five separate examples of, I'm not going to say bad headlines. I don't want to make anyone feel bad here, but headlines that leave something to be desired or probably do something that isn't fully correct that you can avoid. So let's start with a heavily enterprise site. I do not know this company at all, but came across this and pretty good example of this. So what I want you to pay attention to here is the principle of the headlines being like me copy all over this page. Not just the headlines, but throughout the whole thing. Um, Everything's solvable. Okay, that's like, I don't know what that really means, but as you go through, it's like the company's called Altair. Altair acquires this company. Okay, I mean, who cares though? I mean, cool, I get this as enterprise, so it's a little bit different, but why Altair? Altair One, Altair acquisitions. Altair named a leader in Magic Quadrant virtual event for Altair's conference. You can see across the board, like Altair Partner Alliance, the H1s, H2s across the board. It's all me. And yes, it changes the dynamic a little bit when you move up market, but general principle, talk to me, not to yourself. Don't talk to Altair because you are them. You don't need to talk to yourself. You don't need to boast about yourself. You need to clearly communicate the value to your prospect, to the reader, whoever this is. So your language, not making everything about like Altair branded products and your acquisitions and all this stuff. These are the kind of headlines that just instantly give zero context and turn people off right away. If you're constantly talking about yourself, whether it's to this extreme or whether it's more subtle on your site, look at your current site. Are you talking a little bit more so to yourself, actually? Are you not making it directly pointed to the customer and the value that they care about? A lot of the times, what you want them to care about and what they actually care about are slightly different things. So that's another component of this, another subset of it. Let's move on to another site that teaches a different principle here. This is a site called Kizzy. I do not know this site either. This is a good example of a site that looks well designed. So you would think that these headlines, the copy here, would be super on point. But pay attention to how basically none of the copy says much of anything. It's super broad. It doesn't really give you any more context, but it does take up a ton of valuable space. So secure your space with modern access control. Okay, that tells me a little bit, and really that doesn't tell me all that much, but the image behind it does. So paired with that context, it's okay. The rest of the headlines, though, you get these H3s like all in one solution. That's meaningless. Doesn't mean anything. Doesn't give me any real context. Scalable access control, powerful integrations, see more, enterprise grade, secure your industry, explore our deployment options. Half of this stuff is like uh, a fourth of a nugget of something, but all combined, it doesn't tell much of a story. And individually, it's like, what powerful integrations, cool. Without this image, this copy would be completely pointless. It wouldn't tell me a single thing. It's kind of understood that most software has some kind of integration with something else that you use. It's fairly pointless. So this is an example of way too broad. Now your headlines don't have to be 4 sentences long and giving crazy examples in each to really make everything tangible and less abstract, but this level of abstraction and vagueness isn't helping anybody. It's basically just taking up the entire space of this page without getting me any closer to wanting to click this button right here. Let's go to another one. This is a company called Salesforge. Again, I don't really know any of these companies, but I've just come across them. And when you look at this, at first you think, oh, okay, well, this looks a little more succinct. They're using the Inter font. This is going to be good, right? Even the headlines look simple, like they've been edited down. But then you start seeing that this page is littered with ChatGPT words. Now, it's okay if you use AI to help you with stuff. That's not a problem. But there are these certain like words, these weasel words in there that are just so indicative of this entire page being written by AI that it's distracting. Case in point in the H1, forges, cold email that forges pipeline. I have never thought about forging pipeline in my life. I don't know what that means, Adding to pipeline, sure, but like forge is such a ChatGPT word. Or let's see, we get more here. Build. Okay, so I get like sales forge. I get it, but like you'll see what I mean in a second. Scale your outreach, not your team. Like this kind of structure is very ChatGPT. Craft unique emails. There's one. Craft unique emails. Repetitive. You see here, it's just like across the board. This is probably written by ChatGPT. A lot of this stuff. And then you do get a little me language too. There's some overlap there. Don't just take our word for it. Again, vague copy doesn't really tell anything, and then the page just dies, which is a separate issue, not for this video. But you got to be careful of words like forge, foster, delve, craft, um, enable, empower, things like that. I would never use that in writing ever. I would never say those words out loud. Those are ChatGPT words to me. And it's to a point now where if I can recognize that just right off the bat, it's distracting and it's probably going to hurt the copy. But also, again, this is just not this is very abstract stuff like cold email that forges pipeline. I kind of get it. Like I'm running cold email campaigns and it's going to give me more business. It's going to give me more potential people in my pipeline. Okay, I understand that, but like can I visualize that and can I understand from that one headline what the cold email service you're actually offering is? Are you doing like do you allow me to buy inboxes? Are you a deliverability tool, a warm-up tool? Are you the actual like campaign sender? Are you a personalization tool? All that stuff is completely lost because this is too vague. So there's another example. Avoid ChatGPT copy at all costs. Let's move on to Binder. This one has a lot of stuff going against it. I do like some of the organization of like check marks and visualizing the value of this a little bit. But again, it's pretty vague. It's got a lot of me copy. Binder's AI powered DAM enables. So okay, that was written by ChatGPT. But the principle that I want you to kind of notice here is hyperbole. Best in class, enterprise grade digital asset management. So DAM as a keyword, probably pretty competitive. Tons of other companies doing this, all fighting for the same thing that probably all have roughly exactly the same service. And that's okay. Like every company doesn't have to have something completely novel and everything. And I think the more that you are honest about what you view as your differentiator, that actually comes through really well for you. Even if that's just saying, we're a pretty good digital asset management. Like I would almost rather if you said in your copy, we're a pretty reliable, pretty good DAM tool. I would like that more than if you said best in class, enterprise grade, and then I've never heard of this company. Now, granted, I'm not in this market, so this could just be some massive company that I don't know. But I'm guessing that they are probably not even the biggest company in the digital asset management space. So then you're putting in hyperbole like best in class, which literally means you are the best of all your competitors. There's no way of proving that or quantifying that or anything. So anybody could say this, but this company probably isn't actually the best in class or the best in their grouping or niche. So that bothers me. The hyperbole without living up to the promise. Instead, I would take a look at, all right, what actually is the nicest value or differentiator from Binder compared to another tool in this space or another digital asset management software? Is there something that they really focus way more? Do they have 50 more support staff than anybody else, and that's where their value is? Is their tool 15% faster to run? These are things that I have no clue, but to me, that's tangible, measurable, real, and authentic differentiator that does deserve to be in your copy. Otherwise, I would literally rather just say digital asset management. It would communicate the exact same thing without that. And as you go throughout here too, like single source of truth for your digital content across all systems and channels. Was that really true? Probably not. Like there's never a true single source of truth, and um, then there's some copy that's written by ChatGPT clearly. So I don't know. That to me, it's like the world's most interconnected DAM. Even if this stuff was maybe true, it just seems so hyperbolic and basic to me that it doesn't stand out at all. I would rather you just tell me a genuinely different thing about you, even if it's not all that impressive. Last one is a company that actually I do know and that many people know. And there are a lot of people that really love this site. They like the design. They think it's clean. A lot of people have tried to copy this kind of format. Um, I will say for headlines specifically, it leaves a lot for me to be desired in terms of it being for everyone and for everything. And that's like the core message across this entire site: the everything app for work. Again, it's just now ClickUp has a brand that you don't really need a headline that tells you everything. It's not necessary. That's what a brand is for. So this doesn't really ding them at all. It doesn't really hurt them that bad. But imagine that ClickUp was just starting out and just building, and their headline was the everything app for work. I would have no idea what that actually means or why I should care if it actually could live up to that promise. I don't know what goes into everything. So there's just a lot of questions that make this really abstract and not visible or tangible to me. Um, and then it goes on like save time, get more done. Okay, I get we're leading with benefits copy. The problem with benefits copy is that it also has to connect to something tangible. It can't just be ethereal benefits. It has to maybe be an ethereal benefit that leads into something really that you can visualize. And this save time, get more done. Okay, but it doesn't tell me how or what happens really. It doesn't really qualify me to see if I'm the right type of person for this. And then it just keeps going. Improve collaboration. How? What does that look like? Enhance visibility. Again, like enhance ChatGPT word to me. But it's fine. Like it's just kind of vague. Automate work. Maybe that's a little bit more specific. But again, there's just a billion things that you can automate. So it doesn't really tell me all that much. One AI for all your work. Again, hopefully you can kind of see what I'm getting at here. This is just a broad for everyone type page. And this headline sums it up. Perfect fit for every team. Now, I get that the value is that they're trying to be breadth over depth. I get that. Um, but in the copy, it just makes the headline so much harder to visualize and get anything out of. And ultimately, that's what I'm looking out of for an H1, H2s, especially, and to some extent H3s. I'm really just looking for can I just understand this? Can I get it without having to think too hard? That's 90% of the battle for me. And these 5 examples here, whether you're talking about me copy, ChatGPT copy, going super broad and taking up valuable space while saying nothing, being for everyone in your copy, or doing everything in your copy, or just over hyperbolization, if that's even a word, of your differentiators and your value. Those are some things that I instantly can note and that make me think way too hard or make it harder to get the value that I'm looking for. And they really disincentivize me from the ultimate goal, which is the click right there on that button. So hopefully this helps. 5 things to not do for your headlines. Take a look at your site and just ask yourself honestly, do you see any me copy? Are you using too much hyperbole? Did you write it with ChatGPT? If so, maybe try to switch out some of those words to simplify. Empower can just be like it can instead of empower. Look at those small things and just be honest with yourself on how you can maybe make it a little more human, a little more tangible, less abstract, and your headline will probably be in a much better place for that. Please like and subscribe to this video if you got any value from this. Follow me at Hey Blake on X. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn as well. Happy to connect and you can check out my content there as well. I also run a company called PageStare.com, which does copywriting for busy SaaS companies that have marketing teams. I'll deliver fresh copy every 48 hours, landing page, email sequence, ad copy, whatever you may need. And that's the end of this video. Talk soon.